Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hey, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Saturday Night Dialogues. I hope you all can hear me. Well, She-Hulk, if you can hear me well, please send me a DM to let me know that you can. I will appreciate it. I want to make sure that everything on my end is working well. Folks, we got a very, very uh, powerful call tonight. We are going to absolutely show you what currencies will be included in the RV and which currencies will not. Notice I said we're going to show you. I didn't say we were just only going to tell you. We are going to show you with the proof and receipts directly from the international organization in the banking system so that you can see it yourself. All right. And then also we're going to go into the historical event that happened in Vietnam on the 7th, October the 7th, when they were announced. Vietnam was announced by the FTSE Russell as having their stock market upgraded. Let's get right into some prayer. Father God, we want to thank you as always. We have to give you honor, we give you glory. We ask that you cover and protect every last person that is listening to this call, no matter where they are, no matter where they, not only where they are physically, but no matter where they are spiritually, emotionally, financially, no matter what it is, Father, we ask that you allow us to be vessels for you and bring forth this message for them so that they can receive it and make a difference in their life. We ask that you, for anyone and everyone, such as She-Hulk, who is under the weather, we ask for your healing virtues to flow to her throughout her body. We ask that you allow anyone else who is afflicted by any illness to be able to heal in a timely manner. We ask that you also continue to protect and cover all of us from any hurt, harm, danger, or sickness as we continue to try and do our best to make it to this blessing that you have bestowed upon us. We ask you all of this in your precious name, we pray. Amen. All right. Real quick, folks, we're gonna get into our quick announcements, and we got to roll into this because it's going to be probably a little longer call than usual because of the details that we're going to go over with these currencies tonight. But we have to do it. It's that time. First, Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room, of course, as you may know now, is a read-only room. Since we opened the room in July last year, we were open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single day, Monday through Saturday. Then we went to, a few months ago, we closed on Fridays. We closed on Saturdays, then we went to Fridays, then we went to Thursday. Now the room is read only. And as we've made it very clear, when it's time for us to exchange, the room will be closed completely and indefinitely. We will move on to the next phase of our lives. When I say that, I mean the Goldilocks team. We will move on and move up to our next ventures. All right. So the Goldilocks QFS Dialogue Room, for those that don't know, That is where you can go. You will see the 8 steps, the same steps that all of the bank stories that you're hearing, that you've heard repeatedly, consistently from the tribe. They followed the 8 steps that are in the room. And for folks that may want to know that are just joining the room, you want help. The help is in the search bar in the room. The help is in looking back in the room. The search is in the your help is in the syllabus where there are recorded calls that people that have come before you are sharing what they've done by following the steps that we provided to them. And that's where your help is. We are no longer available for personal guidance and help. We're past that phase now. All right. So I've gotten some messages from people in the last couple of days asking for help. The help is in the room. Hit the search bar, the syllabus, and any information is there. I'm going to say this, please. I would say this respectfully. Please do not ask, sending DMs asking for guidance and help. We're past that. We are past that phase now. We've done that already. All right. Now we have Dee's room. Dee's room is where she drops articles from around the country, the world as well, regarding what's happening in the global banking system. Then we have the crypto finance room, Dave Rose Big Dog's room. If you have questions related to cryptocurrencies, that is the room where you're able to go and get your questions answered. Then, of course, we have Goldilocks Global Banking News, which is the daily podcast on YouTube, where over 20,000 people are subscribed to the channel, over 80 countries and climbing. In fact, I have to get another update tomorrow or Monday because there's more countries that are coming in, subscribing to the channel. Then we're right on the doorstep of 2 million views on the YouTube channel. It is amazing, folks, how the truth has spread wide across the world. Literally, people that are tuning in to follow what Goldilocks has been sharing for a long time, and many people are touched around the world from the results and the receipts of our members in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room who have followed exactly what Goldilocks has said, what Wiley and myself has shared with guidance, along with the tribe, who they have followed the guidance and they were giving back and still continue to give back to help others. When they come on the call, they share their updates from their bankers on what their latest updates from the actual firms that are a part of Forex and that are a part of the RV. It's a blessing. All right, folks. And tonight, the beautiful Peculiar Ram, she had a previous obligation. She will be coming on late, but we have the one and only Sniper, Mike N, who's going to step in and read our articles that are from Goldilocks. This young man is very talented, very detailed. He's a student of Goldilocks, a student of Wiley, a student of the international banking system, a student of the RV. And he's going to be reading the articles tonight, and we're going to love it. All right. Sniper, you here? Oh, Wiley. Did I see Wiley? I thought I saw Wiley jump in. I don't see him anymore. Wiley, are you here? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, Freedom, but we can go ahead and let it rip.
Good. Okay. All right. Sniper, you ready to rock and roll?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. All right. It's, like I said, folks, it's going to be probably a little longer call than normal, but we're just be patient. You're going to hear and see some detailed facts on the currencies that some of you hold. And so we're going to get right into it. Sniper, I'm going to briefly go through these first ones here. I think you already know the itinerary. And
Yes, sir.
all right, folks, what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm going to share with you, for those of you who have been following Goldilocks and paying attention, you know that it seems like Goldilocks has a crystal ball. Goldilocks knows weeks, months, years in advance before something happens. And we're going to show you quickly right now some of the things that we've showed before by Goldilocks, what Goldilocks posted years ago, and how it's relevant right now and what's happening with currencies. All right, real quick. The first one is back on October the 8th, 2021, when Goldilocks posted an article, actually over 300 articles, 309 to be exact, on tariffs in 2021. For those of you that don't know, because I know some of you who are on this call are not aware, but those who have been following Goldilocks know that Trump's tariffs are directly connected to the currency revaluation. And we're going to show that to you in about 5 minutes as well. Literally, we're going to show you to you in writing. But here we have in 2021, October, where Goldilocks shared an article about tariffs and its relation to what was going to happen in the future, what was needed to happen in the future related to currency values. Then the next one, Goldilocks on trade. Goldilocks posted 3,507. Actually, this is old. It's more than that now. Over 3,500 articles on trade related to tariffs and related to the current currency revaluation, folks. Over 3,500 times going back 4 years ago. How did Goldilocks know 4 years ahead of time that tariffs was necessary? And how did Goldilocks know over 6 years in advance that trade was necessary, and trade is through tariffs, in order for the currency revaluation to happen? This is why, folks, you've heard the term, most of you have heard the term by Goldilocks, watch the water. Because where does trade happen? On the water. This is where countries, Iraq, Vietnam, Venezuela, Mexico, US, you name the country, they trade goods, services with each other through imports and exports. Folks, that is done on the water. This is where currencies, through supply and demand, move up or down in rate. So Goldilocks, over 3,500 times, trade. Then Goldilocks, this past June, Goldilocks posted an article that says a weaker US dollar generally leads to a revaluation of foreign currency exchange rates, causing foreign currencies to appreciate relative to the dollar. I'm going to repeat that, and then the sniper is going to read something to you here in a second to follow this, to give you confirmation from the Trump administration of exactly what Goldilocks just said back in June. Goldilocks says a weaker US dollar generally leads to a revaluation of foreign currency exchange rates, causing foreign currencies to appreciate relative to the US dollar. Now, Sniper is going to read the article, the leak from the Trump White House that happened in April of last year. And we were the first and only source that provided and shared this proof from the Trump administration about the RV. Sniper, the floor is yours. And folks, remember what Goldilocks just said. A weaker US dollar generally leads to a revaluation of foreign currency. Go ahead, young man. The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Currency revaluation is likely to be a priority for some members of a potential second Trump administration, mainly because of the viewpoints that an overvalued dollar contributes to a trade deficit, said one former Trump administration official, adding that Lighthizer and his team are the primary advocates for the approach. But weakening the dollar could have far-reaching consequences, from consumer
But
prices for
what did it
but,
say about the dollar? But strengthening of the dollar?
but weakening.
Oh, just want to make sure I heard you right. I just want to make sure I heard you right, young man.
Yes, sir. But
Go ahead.
weakening the dollar could have far-reaching consequences, from sending consumer prices for imported products soaring to inviting retaliation from other countries and threatening the dollar's role as a world reserve currency, which would undermine U.S. sanctions on adversaries like Iran and Russia.
Is this not what Goldilocks just said in June? And here we have the Trump administration saying the same thing. The Trump administration, folks, this is an article for those that are listening to this for the first time. This is an article that was leaked by the Trump administration that was written in April of 2024, last year. Currency revaluation is likely to be a priority from some members of a potential second Trump administration, mainly because of the viewpoint that an overvalued dollar contributes to the trade deficit, but weakening the dollar could have a far-reaching consequences. So the Trump administration is talking about the RV related to trade. Where did Goldilocks say that currency revaluation will happen? On the water, through trade, over 3,500 times over the last 5 to 6 years. Goldilocks has been saying this, and here we have the Trump administration now is saying the same thing. So here, through trade and tariffs, this article was from April of last year. What did the Trump administration do just a few months ago? Implemented tariffs via trade to all these countries around the world. And what do these countries do? What did they do? Negotiating rates, tariffs with the United States and with each other. You may see in the next couple of days from Goldilocks where the U.S. administration is expected to finalize the negotiations with Vietnam on their tariff agreement. Although a few months ago, it was announced by President Trump that the agreement was finalized. That was a part of his art of the deal to publicly state that. We have in writing that it is not complete, and that is in our favor for those of us who hold the Vietnamese dong. But Goldilocks will further elaborate on that, I suspect, in the next couple of days. But nonetheless, speaking of Vietnam, stay tuned because we're gonna get into the act. We're gonna go into Forex. We're gonna show you the currencies that will and will not be a part of the RV. But before we go there, we're gonna touch on this momentous occasion that happened on October the 7th. For those of you who have the Vietnamese dong, you better hold on to your dong. All right, now the FTSE Russell. Goldilocks shared this in July, months before the FTSE Russell. For those who don't know, let me educate you very quickly. The FTSE Russell is an international stock exchange. Think of NASDAQ. Think of the New York Stock Exchange. Specifically, the FTSE Russell comprises over 100 countries with over 100 wealth managers that are called asset managers. Not just when you think of asset manager, don't think of a person. Think of a firm. I'll say an asset management firm, over 100, that are connected to the FTSE Russell, and they trade stocks, assets on the FTSE Russell. And these firms, these wealth management, asset management firms, they total almost $16 trillion in assets on the FTSE Russell exchange. 16 trillion with a T. And these over 100 wealth management firms, several of those firms are the exact firms that the members in the Goldilocks QFS dialogue room, for those who follow in Goldilocks, those same members now have relationships with these exact firms that are part of the FTSE Russell and $16 trillion in asset management by these wealth management firms. Because our members followed the steps and the guidance that was given to them by Goldilocks, Wiley, myself, and the tribe. I'm going to share this with you. What Goldilocks provided in July 14th. Current context of upgrades. Goldilocks told us months in advance to be aware of this, stating market upgrade efforts. This is about Vietnam, folks, and what happened on October the 7th. But Goldilocks stated on July 14th to be aware of it. Vietnam is actively pursuing a reclassification from a frontier market to an emerging market status by international index providers like the FTSE Russell and the MSCI. The Ministry of Finance is implementing reforms to meet stringent criteria, such as improving market infrastructure, removing pre-funding requirements, and easing foreign ownership limits. I'm going to pause right there. Folks, Goldilocks stated in July 14th, the importance of this. And actually, since July 14th, Goldilocks almost on a daily basis continued to share the latest of what was happening behind the scenes with the negotiations with Vietnam and the FTSE Russell. The reforms that Vietnam were implementing in order to qualify for the FTSE Russell. Then probably a good maybe 50 or 60 articles since July 14th, Goldilocks has been saying, pay attention to the FTSE Russell and Vietnam, potentially their stock market being upgraded. Even members, folks, that are on this call right now, and their wealth management firms that they have established relationships with, those same firms that are a part of the 16 trillion that Vietnam now will be a part of, those same firms are providing updates through newsletters to their clients, which includes our members. Because our members are prepared. They are not under the assumption that they need to wait for a notification or a pigeon with a note in his hoofs to drop off to their door to say, chirp, chirp, it's time to go exchange. That's not happening, folks. Not in America, not in the UK, not in Russia, not in Zimbabwe, not in Iraq, Vietnam, Venezuela, nowhere. It's not happening. It's not even happening on Jupiter or Mars. Nowhere. Nowhere in all the universes. So let's get into Sniper. Let's go right into what Goldilocks is telling us. Go see, folks, Goldilocks watches the numbers and the currency rates behind the scenes because Goldilocks has access to see. Goldilocks has the license as a finance expert and the credentials and the relationships with folks in Forex to see. But this is public information that Goldilocks is sharing and just bringing it to you. And fortunately for those who follow Goldilocks, All they did was just take what Goldilocks has been sharing, establish the relationships based on how we've told them to do so, and they get with the bankers, and it confirms everything that Goldilocks has been saying. Let's go right into it, my good man.
Yes, sir. Okay, folks, we are now beginning to see the new fundamentals enter into Vietnam's trading venues. This does not mean we're going to see a rate right away. It just means that we have begun the process of entering into emerging market status upgrade.
And this is, folks, this was before October the 7th on the announcement that Goldilocks is stating that the fundamentals are being seen, meaning the support, the financial mechanisms in the global markets are being seen by Goldilocks and these other institutional investors, and it's public information. If you know where to look, well, it's not all public information. You got to have access, but Goldilocks has the access. It is sharing that the fundamentals, meaning in layman's terms, the support, the financial support backed by the reforms to support the increase in the movement in the rates, specifically the Vietnamese dong we're talking about here. So before the actual upgrade that happened on October the 7th, Goldilocks saw the numbers moving. In fact, we had a sniper, if you recall, a few weeks ago, we had on a Saturday Night Dialogues call where we showed during that week where Goldilocks showed the actual trend. In fact, you touched on it. It was the cup and handle showing the increasing in the movement of the value of the Vietnamese dong. That was almost a month ago, ladies and gentlemen, in preparation and also in anticipation of what was going to happen on October the 7th because of the market sentiment, meaning the international investors, those within the 16 trillion, those asset managers, the 16 trillion, and there's several others, but outside of the FTSE Russell, like the NASDAQ is trillions, the New York Stock Exchange, trillions, the MSCI, which is the Morgan Stanley Complex Index, trillions. They all see what's happening before the public sees what's happening. Goldilocks has shared it before anyone else in the public domain and Dinar Land knew about it because Goldilocks has the access. Have any of you ever wondered why it's only been the folks that follow Goldilocks, Wiley, and myself and the tribe? They have the actual receipts and the actual results with the bankers. Have you thought that they might know something? But you have the opportunity to know the same information. We're going to give you some of that tonight. Go, young man. You can continue.
Yep. During this time, Vietnam is opening up their ports to new shipping venues. New local currencies will be exchanged between several new countries and volume that will begin putting price pressures on all of the currencies they trade with going forward.
This is important. This is important, folks. I want you to realize the connection with what he just read by Goldilocks. New local currencies. This means the currencies of all the countries around the world, meaning country and their own local currencies, meaning the currencies of that country will be exchanged between several new countries. This is trade with countries back and forth amongst each other in volumes that will begin putting price pressures on all of the currencies they do trade with going forward. Meaning, what Goldilocks is meaning by this is, so especially as when this happened with Vietnam and their upgrade, well, this is what Goldilocks is. This is before the actual upgrade. What Goldilocks is foretelling what would happen if they were to be upgraded, which they did. I'm just giving you this a few days before October the 7th. But the domino, the ripple effect that would occur with Vietnam and the countries that they do trade with. So let's say Vietnam does trade. Of course, that's on the water. They do trade with, let's say, 100 countries, goods and services. When I say that, goods, I mean, for example, it could be their agricultural products, wheat, corn, rice, products that they make in manufacturing, clothing, textiles, so forth and so on. These are products that they, meaning Vietnam, do trade with other countries through import and exports around the world. Let's say if it's 100 countries. Well, as Vietnam's currency, the dong, begins to move, the countries they do trade with, they also will begin to move. Why? Because as the Vietnamese dong begins to move up, and they do trade with these other 100 countries, those other countries, think of country one that does trade with Vietnam. Well, that country has to adjust their markets because of the new reclassification of the Vietnamese dong. Then country number two that does business with country number one has to do the same thing. Then country number three that does business with number two and number one has to do the same thing. Then when country number 4, 5, 6, 7, so forth and so on, it's a domino effect. Countries will adjust their values of their currencies on the water because of what happened, what Goldilocks is saying, the expectation of what was to happen with Vietnam being upgraded by the FTSE Russell. And folks, let me be clear. I'm got to make it abundantly clear. This is not a quote unquote flip of the switch for Vietnam RV, then the next country, the RV, then the next one, the RV, then the next one for the no. That's a big full glass of guru fufu on the rocks. On the rocks. That's not how Forex works. That's how fantasy fufu works. You need to get out of there. Get out of the fufu fantasy. We are going to show you tonight what currencies are and are not included in the RV. And what Goldilocks has been sharing, again, years in advance of what was going to happen, what needed to happen, and now it's happening. Would you not want to get on board to understand what you hold and getting that information from the actual source Goldilocks which has been telling you years in advance of how this is going to happen? Why do you think all of the not all, but why do you think a lot of the members that follow Goldilocks they have contracts with the actual bankers to exchange their currencies? They have the relationships with the actual bankers and their accounts set up for trust. Free, I might add, free trust, where a lot of people have bought trust for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Which, if you take that trust and you go to the dollar store, you can exchange them doggone $4,000 trust for a bag of potato chips, the dollar chips equivalent. It's the same. but our members have actually have been able to get free trust from the actual banks to exchange the currency and put it in their trust to protect their wealth. I'm just saying. Let's go, young man. Vietnam. You can continue.
Hey, I don't know, man. Jupiter might have that flip of the switch up there. I don't know.
if they do, I bet everyone gonna try to get on a spaceship and go.
This does not mean that we will see a solid rate right away, but it does begin the process of building reserves in several currencies. New mechanisms are being placed to achieve this goal.
For those who don't know, Goldilocks has always said and shown us in writing that the dong and other currencies will float. In fact, Sniper, your wealth management firm, your wealth managers, I'm glad you and him communicate, not just him, you got more than one, on a regular basis. They have shared with you, your firm, which I'm sure is a part of that 16 trillion in FTSE Russell. Your firm has showed you months ago, because you shared it with me in DM, how they were tracking the currencies in the emerging markets, were they not?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. They've been watching this as a ripple effect. And I mean, here, just as this week, I had a wealth manager that actually went to Texas to actually do some, how they're opening up the Texas Stock Exchange down there. He's
Yes,
going
yeah.
down there to
Goldilocks
prepare. He
posted
went
about
down
that
there.
last week.
Yeah, he went down there for his company as a representative to go down there and actually do some learning down there to get prepared, because everything's kind of setting up, and I can't wait to kind of dig into this, because a lot of what we're reading right now is what these companies are setting up for.
Absolutely. You can continue. Removing the pre-funding requirement.
Yep. Removing the pre-funding requirement for investors. Implementing a faster settlement system, such as the new KRX trading system. Increasing transparency regarding foreign ownership limits. Each of these trade mechanisms will allow Vietnam to expand their trading base. Much of their focus will be on for a brief period of a time. This is called positioning. It will enable themselves to lead their area of global market, and then float will begin.
Then a float will begin. So, folks, the two requirements, removing the pre-funding requirement, implementing a faster settlement system, increasing transparency, those were the last final requirements that Vietnam needed to meet in order to be upgraded by the FTSE Russell to an emerging stock market, and they met it. Now let's go to the next one, young man. Just the first two.
Yes, sir. Analysis suggests that the market is likely to experience a significant volatility in the upcoming trading session, buoyed by positive sentiment. Vietnam potential upgrade from frontier to a secondary emerging market status by FTSE Russell is scheduled for an announcement on October 7, 2025. Following the close of major global markets, this decision stems from Vietnam's ongoing reforms, including the removal of pre-funded requirements for foreign investors, implementation of faster settlement systems like the KRX trading platform, ease foreign ownership limits, and improve market transparency through IFRS adoption.
Now, so this was Goldilocks is telling us what to expect on October the 7th, of Vietnam's upgrade. Remember, 4 months in advance, Goldilocks said to prepare for this, to look out for this. This was important. This was a milestone. And many of our members, like Mike N and others, their firms, their wealth management firms that are all connected to the FTSE Russell and to the global financial system, and these firms trade on Forex, they're reporting to our members exactly what Goldilocks has been saying. Now, Goldilocks was saying the expectation of Vietnam being reclassified and their stock market upgraded. Folks, just so you don't, for those who don't know, Vietnam's stock market has been shut off from the world, which means the Vietnamese dong has historically been shut off from the world. Meaning, when I say the world, I mean the international exchange bankers, the institutional bankers. These are the firms that have unlimited amount of money. This is I know some of you will get triggered when I say names like BlackRock and Fidelity, all these, and data dark. Man, folks, these firms, the JP Morgans, the internationals, the Rockefellers, these are the firms, the connected firms around the world that all trade foreign currencies on a daily basis in the trillions. Not only foreign currencies, but even just foreign currency They trade daily in the trillions of dollars. Vietnam, as of October the 7th, now the dong will be accessible throughout these international firms, and these firms now have the confidence in Vietnam and the dong and its potential of increasing in value that they will pour money into Vietnam. What will happen is, as they pour into Vietnam, not only physically by because they've been investing in Vietnam, businesses have been flocking to Vietnam over the last 12 months. One of them you might have heard of. It's just a little small, company called Trump Associates that had a groundbreaking ceremony in May of this year of golf courses, hotels, and retail space. Over 1,000 some odd acres of land. Yes, Trump's own personal company broke ground in Vietnam earlier this year. That's just so. But now, Trump's smart. He was ahead of the game. Now, with their stock market opening to the world, the trillions and trillions of assets that many asset managers, wealth managers control, now the dong will be a part of that process globally because of the FTSE Russell upgrade. So now, Sniper, read what happened next on October the 7th.
Yes, sir. FTSE Russell upgrades Vietnam to emerging market status.
This is the official announcement, folks. Go ahead.
Index providers FTSE Russell said on Tuesday that Vietnam has been upgraded to an emerging market status from frontier status. Is a long-awaited move that could see foreign investors plow billions into the best performing Southeast Asian stock market. But FTSE Russell said that the upgrade has effective date of Monday, the 21st September of 2026, with an interim review in March 2026.
What this means, folks, see, what happens is the big players, they get involved ahead of time. This does not mean, even though the effective date is September 2026, they have already seen the dong's movement as of right now. That with how this works in the banking world is these investors are able to take advantage of access to higher rates and more money access to the dong almost a year in advance before anyone else. But what happens between now and then is that the currency, the Vietnamese dong, is expected to, it's already moving on Forex. Goldilocks showed that a few weeks ago. The cup and handle charts. The wealth managers are sharing the charts with our members to their clients. So between now and then, to answer your question that I know all of you may have, no, you don't have to wait until then. This is already happening. What will happen on September 2026 is just where the overall traders, other retail traders will have access to what the institutional traders are having access to now. Because the institutional traders, the institutional investors, they are the ones that do the investing of assets denominated in the Vietnamese dong. They will be the ones who move the rate up through supply and demand in the open markets. This is why Goldilocks has stated and shown that floats will happen over the next 3 to 5 years. What happened on October the 7th is the beginning of that process. This is why we watch the water. We watch Forex. This is why we have relationships with the actual bankers. Actually, some of the bankers have asked some of our members to come in and exchange now, but the rate is not sexy enough. But they know that the rates will move up. They will float. But of course, they want you to come in at a lower rate so that they make more when the rates go up. This is where an exit strategy that Wiley especially has consistently talked about, the importance of an exit strategy, knowing when you will exchange at what rate and how often you choose to exchange, because there is no such thing as double dipping. Forex doesn't work like that, folks. And I only speak through experience when I used to trade Forex for a living. It does not work that way. You can exchange as often as you want. There is no event, special event that caps you at exchanging one time. That's called fear mongering, to keep you hooked, to come back to someone's channels, to make you think you got one. Just imagine you go and exchange it at the first rate because you think you can only exchange it one time. You go in and exchange at $1. Meanwhile, 7 months later, it's $2. Wouldn't you think you could have waited? Or wouldn't you think you could have exchanged some at the $1 and exchanged some at $2? Folks, that's how it's done every day on Forex now. But when you're listening to people that are telling you anything and everything just because, and you don't do your own research, you're left to be a slave and dependent on someone else's information that isn't real. It's unfortunate. Now, we are going to get into what Goldilocks shared on the actual law that Vietnam passed, Resolution 68, that is directly connected to the revaluation of the Vietnamese dong. A law that's directly connected to foreign exchange, to foreign currencies. Not just the dong, I should say, but all foreign currencies, all foreign countries and their currencies that would do business with Vietnam. This is the ripple effect. This is the domino effect. This is the actual law. This is not rumor. This is not, in my opinion. This is actual law passed by the Vietnamese government. Go, young man. The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Vietnam's Resolution 68 directly relates to foreign currency, as it introduces new policies to make countries more attractive to foreign capital, and promotes a more flexible environment for international financial activities within designated areas.
Mm-hmm.
For members within international financial centers, the resolution allows the use of foreign currencies for various activities, including transactions, pricing, advertising, and payments, aiming to ease international trade and investment.
So what this does, folks, it allows, with this law by Vietnam just passed, allows Vietnam to do transactions in foreign currencies. It could be the dinar. It could be the peso. It could be the British pound, various foreign currencies that will back the Vietnamese dong to allow it to provide more stability behind the Vietnamese dong. Don't forget, we have now as well the Basel III requirements for gold that backs the Vietnamese dong in every bank in the world now, every central bank. But this Resolution 68 This is a part of this actually was one of the laws that they passed that the FTSE Russell indicated was a major indicator of why they upgraded the Vietnams to an emerging market, their stock market. Go, young man.
And that's the mechanisms there.
Exactly.
In summary, Resolution 68 is a significant policy shift in Vietnam, designed to attract foreign investment by creating a more welcoming and flexible regulatory environment, particularly for use of foreign currencies within the newly designated international financial centers.
Mm-hmm.
Resolution 68 began last May, but it has increased in volume since that time, with 18.9% rise and new market entrants. Vietnam has opened their currency to several new local countries currency within Resolution 68. This is an important driver in credit currency revaluation or valuation.
Vietnam has opened their currency, meaning they've opened the dong to several new local currencies with Resolution 68, meaning, folks, remember I mentioned the domino effect, the ripple effect? So as they trade with Iraq, or they trade with Venezuela, or they trade with whatever country you can think of, the dong will be utilized in trade. Now, this is where supply and demand, the demand for the dong goes up as a result of this, because it's allowed to be utilized as they do trade with other countries. Versus, folks, see, you may not be aware, but historically, the currency that Vietnam used in trade was the US dollar, not the Vietnamese dong. How can the Vietnamese dong, how can the dong go up in value if it's not even attractive to use in the global markets? How is that even possible? If it's not attractive, if foreign investors who move the value up, if foreign investors who will invest, who need to invest in the stocks and the bonds of a country, of Vietnam, how can the dong just arbitrarily go up in value if none of the institutional investors, the asset managers, those folks who control trillions in Forex daily, if they don't even want it? If they're not trading it, if they're not using it on a global scale, when they buy and sell assets in the trillions of dollars, if they're not using the dong, how can all of a sudden the dong revalue if those who move the dong don't even want it? The daily traders who trade in the trillions, think about it logically, not emotionally, not selfishly. Think about it logically. Think about it mathematically. If the actual Forex traders who trade in the trillions daily for a living, for profit, how can any currency just at the flip of the switch go up if the actual people who are trading and making money from it, they don't even want to touch it? Vietnam passed Resolution 68 to change that, to make it even more, to make the dong more attractive, because it eased the restrictions that were in Vietnam historically over the last 50 plus years, where Vietnam wouldn't even allow foreign investors and traders to come in to their markets. But they have now completely, excuse my term and my language, but I got to use this. Vietnam has completely, they just pulled their pants down. And told all of the institutional investors that have all the trillions of dollars, you got access. You got access, full access to Vietnam now. You have full access to the Vietnamese dong now. So what does that do? That now, folks, it sends a signal throughout all of the other trillions of asset managers around the world that Vietnam is giving up the goodies, called the Vietnamese dong. Everybody flock in to get the goodies. And I think as Follow the Bouncing Ball says, getting the cookie. Yeah, everybody wants the cookie now. But what happens, Sniper, is now everyone has said is a signal to all these institutional, like your wealth manager, Sniper, who's saying, whoo, we gonna get some of this cookie because that cookie tastes sweet. It's gonna make us a whole lot of money.
Absolutely.
Because what they can do, folks, is they can move the value of the rate. Let's say they can move it up to $1 to where folks in retail, folks, I'm gonna just say you can go and exchange at $1, but they laughing behind the scenes saying, it's gonna be $3 in 12 months. Let them go and exchange at that $1 because we're gonna make that profit. That's how it works. It's business, it's capitalism. Nothing wrong with it. That's just how it works, folks.
How you keep the lights on.
That's how they keep the lights on. Not at the Motel 6 though, but at the Ritz-Carlton. So, folks, you got to understand this is how Forex works, not the fairy tale that you've been told of how the RV will occur. We're trying to give you the money mechanics and the dynamics, and we're going to get here into a little bit on the currencies that are part of the RV. And we're going to show we're just going to continue to give you the facts on facts. And you take what you want to do with it and do what you will. All right. Now, I'm going to read that last part again. This regarding Vietnam. They have opened their currency. They have opened the dong to several new local countries' currencies. Folks, this is where the trade amongst these countries and their currencies will begin to move with Vietnam and the Vietnamese dong. This is how the rates of a country's currency begins to move up organically. There is no such thing, folks. I know some of you're stuck on the rates that you were seen on the internet, and you became emotionally attached to what you saw and what you heard because it sounds so good. $5-6 rate.
I don't know, Freedom. They might be one of those things they just waiting on Kurdistan to do his job.
Lord have mercy. Kurdistan is so funny, folks. We're giving you the actual information. If you choose this, and you have to understand, folks, this is why members like Mike N and many others, those that you've heard, that can bank stories after bank story. When we were open in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, daily, 5, sometimes 6 people per day would share their latest updates from the actual bankers daily. Folks, because they were prepared by the information, by the facts given to them by Goldilocks, Wiley, myself, and the tribe. It's unfortunate that we had to move to read only. No, it's not unfortunate. It's unfortunate for many of you, but it was necessary because we're transitioning. Nonetheless, now let's get into what's next that Goldilocks is sharing about Vietnam. Go, young man.
Okay. How do we know that Vietnam's currency is about to rise? Investors buy foreign bonds primarily for diversification, to reduce portfolio risk, to gain higher yields than available domestically, to benefit from currency appreciation, and to access new investment opportunities for foreign economies. These investments can provide a stability by not being tied to their home market's performance and offer a way to profit from other countries' economic growth or a currency rise.
Yes, yes. Folks, listen to this. Investors, for those of you who have your relationships with your actual wealth managers in those firms, this is the investors that Goldilocks is talking about. Investors buy foreign bonds primarily for diversification, to reduce portfolio risk, to gain higher yields than available domestically. I'm going to explain that to you all. When investors buy foreign bonds, for example, in Vietnam, the state bank, which is the central bank of Vietnam, they sell stocks and bonds to investors, institutional investors. Folks, you must realize you are not the investors that you think. You're retail investors, meaning, and I can't think of any other term, but I'm going to use this, but don't take it in a derogatory sense. You as a retail investor, you're a low-level investor, meaning an average Joe who was made aware that the currencies will move up in rate, and you go to the bank and you exchange your currencies. That's a retail investor. What Goldilocks is referring to is investors here buying foreign bonds. Folks, the stocks and the bonds of a country that are only available, that are real bonds, are only available to institutional investors. These are the commercial investors. These are those who control trillions daily in the Forex market. Not just Forex, but I'm just using Forex because it's the topic of right now. Do any of you have trillions of dollars that you manage right now? You have 5,000, 10,000 employees called wealth managers that trade on Forex every day, and your firm is listed on the Fortune 100 list? Is that any of you? If not, you got to realize those are the only folks who have access to purchase stocks and bonds from a government. That also leads me to let you know that a part of what we're going to see here shortly about what currencies and what bonds will and will not be a part of the RV, this is a perfect segue into that. We're going to go into that in a moment. But what Goldilocks is referring to, investors that buy foreign bonds primarily for diversification, to reduce portfolio risk. This is where, folks, these same investors, these institutional investors. Mike, real quick, if you can come to the microphone, if you don't mind, real quick.
Yes, sir.
I would like for you to give not the name of your firm, but maybe the first and last, maybe the first letter. Is there more than one name in your bank firm?
Absolutely.
There's two.
Absolutely.
Okay. How many names? 2 or 3 names?
3.
3.
I got a couple of them.
I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. And you too. I know you do. I know you do. Give me one that just the first, not that the one that has 3 names in it. Give me the first letter of the first 2 names.
NW.
Okay. So NW is one of these investors that buys foreign bonds primarily for diversification, to reduce portfolio risk, to gain higher yield than available domestically. So that means, Mike, that MW, your multi-trillion-dollar investment firm, one of them that you have a relationship with, I'm not saying this to you, Mike, because I know you already know. But folks, his firm, one of his firms, well, all of his firms, but MW.
And is Nancy. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. N as in Nancy. Okay, NW. They are one of the investors that are part of that 16 trillion. I would imagine so. And they are the ones that buys foreign bonds, meaning bonds of a country. Because these folks, you have to understand, these major $1 trillion investors, they buy these bonds and stocks in a country, especially when they know the potential of those bonds going up in value. Remember, they're the only ones that can purchase these bonds. They are not the NW folks is not buying bonds on eBay or 100trillion.com. They're not buying collectible bonds. They're buying the real, actual government bonds of a country that is backed by the full faith and guarantee of that nation. So what Goldilocks is referring to here is these investors, institutional investors like NW. They're buying these bonds in Vietnam, and this is what helps to also raise the value of the Vietnamese dong. Because these stocks and these bonds that these international and institutional investors are buying, these stocks and bonds they're buying in Vietnam, those stocks and bonds are denominated in the Vietnamese dong. So as the value of these assets, such as stocks and bonds, go up, and remember, they will now have access to the international stock exchange market. They will now have access to the FTSE Russell and the over 100 international firms that are a part of them in the 16 trillion. That's just one. That's just one. We're not talking about the New York Stock Exchange here. We're not talking about the NASDAQ here. This is just the FTSE Russell. And the NASDAQ has already, and Goldilocks may be sharing this in the next couple of days. I'm not going to get ahead of Goldilocks, but possibly we're showing where even NASDAQ has contacted Vietnam and wants to collaborate with the Vietnamese stock market. Yes, NASDAQ. That's almost 30 trillion. But these investors, they purchase stocks and bonds in that country as investors, as licensed fiduciaries, as licensed firms. Again, do you think they're buying these bonds on the internet? No, come on now. Come on now. If that was the case, everybody will be trillionaires. You'll see it. You'll see the pastors in the church trying to get these doggone bonds off of eBay and slapping their members in the head, telling them they're getting the Holy Ghost with them bonds in church. Tell them to give 10%, pay tithes on them $1 trillion notes. Church members, that's your key to heaven. If that was the case, come on, folks, use your heads. But we're going to show you here in a little bit what bonds, currencies are, will, and will not be a part of the RV. Hold on to your seats. Now, Wiley, in his infinite wisdom, we're going to share with you something. Now we're going to get into a little deeper. We're getting closer now into what currencies will and will not be a part of the RV. Wiley shared this a while ago in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, stating currency is a complicated thing. He stated there are roughly 300 currencies in the world right now, with so much commerce now being done internationally and online. It's never been more important to present a united front when it comes to how currencies are read and interpreted, folks. That is where ISO currency codes come in. Pause. For those of you who may not know what ISO stands for, the International Standard Organization. It's very important to understand what this means. These codes, if you have dong, you have dinar, whatever currency or bond you hold, it has a code. It has an ISO, International Standard Organization code. It's a unique identifier, a number that is connected to that currency. And this number, this code, is embedded in the international banking system so that when you go to exchange your currency, there's a code attached to it. And the bank recognizes that code and it communicates to be able to exchange your currency or not. And this code is a unique identifier that recognizes whether or not the currency that you hold is even recognized in the banking system to be exchanged. Now, we're going to see what is. Wiley asks, what is an ISO currency code? Here he is. He says, if you've never used a currency exchange service to sort out your holiday money, then you've been exposed to the 3-character country codes that make up the ISO 4217 standard. This is what it's called for. This is the name. Folks, this is actual banking information that is public information. Every currency, every note that you expect to be in the RV has a code, an ISO code. If it's not recognized in the banking system, it will not be exchanged. Will not be revalued. It can't. It doesn't even exist. If there's no code, it doesn't exist for it. It is like you're traveling internationally. You have your passport. You get your passport scanned, or it's like let's use the hospital. Some people may not travel internationally, but if you've ever been to the hospital and you get one of the, what you call those bands they put on your wrist and they scan, because that wristband has a QR code. Your birthday, your social security number, your address, your vitals, your medical history can all be pulled up and recognized by scanning that QR code when you go to the doctor. Same thing with ISO 4217, these codes. The currency, whether or not it's recognized, depends if the International Standard Organization, which is the banking agency, folks, that provides the codes for the currencies that will be in the RV. Wiley continues, this is a system, folks, that gives every country and currency a unique 3-character code known as ISO 3, country code, or SWIFT currency codes, to simplify matters for currency trading and international trade. So, folks, these codes are already in the banking system. So through trade, as Iraq, Vietnam, the U.S., Russia, China, Philippines, every country does trade with each other. These trade through these tariffs, trade, Forex trade in the trillions daily, there's a currency code that identifies that currency in trade between currencies. Therefore, these currencies have a unique identifier, unique code. Every alphabetic code will also have a corresponding 3-digit numeric code, folks. We're going to show them to you. With both codes, numeric and alphabetic, identified by the International Organization for Standardization. That is where ISO comes from. International Organization of Standards, folks. This is the body that gives the code its name and is a non-government agency that provides standards for everything from manufacturing to communication. So think, folks, a unique code, numeric and alphabet codes to identify the currency that you expect to be in the RV. But you got to realize those currencies and those codes, they've been operating for the last 50 plus years on a daily basis in the trillions. How? Through these actual codes. We're going to show them to you. We're going to show you how you recognize whether or not what you hold will be a part of the RV or not. Would you not think it's important to know what those codes are? And to know what you hold, whether or not it's even recognized? To be recognized by Forex? And we're going to go to Forex here in a little bit too for a certain code. And folks, what we're going to share with you, think of it more so as not to prove anything to you or to shame the gurus who had no clue about this stuff. It's not about that. It's about educating you so that you are now properly informed to make an informed decision and make whatever adjustments you need to make in order to be ready up for the RV so that you can benefit from it. What if some of you have currencies that you were told on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever social media platforms, whatever conference calls? What if you were told that there were currencies that were going to be a part of the revaluation, but they're not? Would you not appreciate if you were informed now so you can make whatever adjustments necessary so that you can be prepared to get for this wealth? This is why we're sharing it with you. What you do with the information is up to you. We're just trying to be a blessing to help you know now before it's too late. All right. Now, we share that by Wiley. ISO 4217. And this information, folks, this is nothing new to folks who follow Goldilocks and Wiley and myself and the tribe. No. This is old information. The ones who in the Goldilocks room, they've known about this for months. Probably almost over a year. Sniper, you've touched on this several times in the room, I recall, almost a year, a while, months ago, but we've been on this for a year. Folks, we're going to get into this. This is where you find out what you hold is going to be a part of the RV or not. Some of you, most of you that are listening to this is new. Did you not know that what you hold or what you don't hold, you could have found out ahead of time before you invested in something that doesn't even exist in the banking system? But again, you got time to make adjustments, folks. So this is why we're sharing.
Get hurt with this one.
Yes, a lot of feelings are about to get hurt. But so, folks, this is why all of those stories, those bank stories you've heard from those who follow Goldilocks, the success, they've known about this. They were able to get prepared ahead of time before you because they knew before you. But we hope just even one of you makes the necessary adjustments. So let's get right into it. I'm not going to belabor the moment any longer. What I just shared was the link directly to the ISO 4217 Wikipedia, and we're going to share a screenshot where, if those of you listening want to follow along, this is where we're going to find out what currencies are going to be a part of the RV or not. Then we're going to share even to help you folks who may not be able to follow along live, a short video clip. And I want to pause this because I'm getting ahead of myself. But this is a video clip of all the currencies. I know how to do this. Let me pause it. All right. Now, for those of you following, you can see these are the codes. These are the codes. All right. This says active codes. ISO 4217 currency codes. The following is a list of active codes of official ISO 4217 currency code names as of January 2024. In the standard, the values are called alphabetic code, numeric code, minor unit, and entity. Think of this as the social security number, the QR code for whatever currency you hold, for whatever currency that is recognized in the international banking system. This is the actual codes and the actual international system for all currencies, folks. You ready, Sniper?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, folks, if you follow along, now you can see the code. You can see the code. You got the Bosnia currency. You got the Bulgarian currency. You got the Botswani, which is the BWP, the Belize dollar, which is the BZD. Folks, these codes, COP for the Colombian peso, COP, folks, this is the code. This is the actual code, the ISO code, the euro. Let me pause this. The euro, EUR. Did you know that the name of the euro? That's the ISO code. It's the EUR. Did you know that the GBP, the Great Britain pound, the pound sterling, that's the ISO code is GBP. Now we're going to get to where I know you all, and I'm going to pause. This is where I know you all want to get straight to. Let's go the Indonesian rupee. You know the IS code is IDR. That's the code. The ISO 4217 code. The numeric code for it is 360. Folks, these are the codes in the banking system that recognizes these currencies. The Indian rupee, the ISO, the international standard code is INR. The numeric code is 356. And then ding, 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 the Iraqi dinar, the IQD. Funny how that happens. Just found out today that the IQD is called an ISO 4217 code with the number 368 attached to the Iraqi dinar. This is how the dinar will be recognized in the banking system when the Iraqi dinar revalues. It's already registered. It's already recognized. The Iranian rial, the IRR, which is the international standard or the ISO code for the real, is IRR. For those who didn't hear me clearly, the IQD, it has a name. It has a 42 ISO 42. It's a code. For those that may want some You might like oxtails and jerk chicken. The Jamaican dollar, the JMD, that's the ISO code with 388. Yep. Then the Japanese yen, the JPY. Folks, do you see your currency here? These are the currencies that are recognized in the banking system that will be a part of the revaluation, because all countries and currencies will eventually move in the new system as floats begin to happen. Although the dinar will be a straight RV. The Zambian dollar. The Philippine peso. For those that are listening and not following, I'm just reading through. It's all in alphabetical order. All of these countries, all of their codes. It's shown right. Did you know the ISO code for the US dollar is the USD? Oh, now let me pause it. Let me pause it. The VND for the Vietnamese dong. Do you hold the Vietnamese dong? The VES for the Venezuelan currency. Do you hold that? Do you hold dinar? It's here. It's recognized. Its unique code and identifier is recognized in the banking system. Now let's continue to go. We're in alphabetical order. Let's go down to we're at V, we're at X. Then we're going to get the Y. And then we're going to get the Z. We know down there with the Z, we know what you want to see. Mike N.
Yes,
did
sir.
you see the IQD on this list?
I did. This is what made it real for me.
Back when you saw it over about less than a year ago, so right?
Yes, sir.
Did you see the Vietnamese dong on this list?
I did.
Did you see the VES, Venezuela, on this list?
I did.
Did you see the Indian rupee on this list?
I did.
So they have codes that are recognized in the banking system for these currencies in the banking system that are a part of Forex right now and will be in the revaluation and when these currencies begin to move. You see that, right?
I do.
Do you see the ZWB, the Zimbabwean bond?
No. Unfortunately not. No, I did not. And I was one of those guys that actually thought that as well until I went in and actually looked at these international codes that are the standard for international standard organization codes that these banks recognize.
It's for those that are probably listening but can't see. I want to ask you this question again. I want them to hear your answer definitively. Do you see the ZWB, the Zimbabwean bond?
Absolutely not.
What do you see from Zimbabwe?
I see the ZIG, which is the ZIG.
Okay. Now, folks, we're not done. We're going to continue with a little more education. Now you see that dinar is a part of it. The dong is a part of it. The VES, the rupee, so forth and so on. They're all a part of the international standard. This is the actual list of currencies, folks. Directly from Wikipedia, who got it, it's funneled from the international banking system, the actual codes. This comes from the U.S. Treasury. Now we're going to give you an education. Excuse me. Since we're on the Zimbabwean currency, and we got some weasels in Australia and some other places around the world that constantly talk about this stuff, but we're not going to give them attention just yet on this. To those individuals, we're going to give you a little quick education about the Zimbabwean dollar. This is a press statement directly from the Zimbabwe government. The press statement states, and it's in the room for those that want to follow. This is the press statement, official press statement. The demonetization of the Zimbabwe dollar. The demonetization of the Zimbabwe dollar. So for those of you, you've seen and you heard, now the dinar is going to be a part of this. The dong is going to be a part of this. The codes, the Venezuelan. Now for those of you who may have just wondered why you didn't see the Zimbabwe dollar, and I know you want to know about the Zimbabwe bond too. We're not going to leave you out. There's time for adjustments, folks. There's time for adjustments. But since you didn't see the Zimbabwe dollar, the Zimbabwe bond on that list, we had to show you why. And this is a press statement from the actual government of Zimbabwe. This was in 2015. The demonetization of the Zimbabwe dollar. It's a welcome remarks. I'm going to have to put my accent on, but I'm not going to. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. This press conference has been called to provide an update on the process of the demonetization of the Zimbabwe dollar in pursuant to sections 41.2 and 44.3 of the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Act, Chapter 2225. For those folks, if you dare to do the research, you should and find out. In fact, we provided the actual link. The demonetization process, it continues from the Zimbabwe Central Bank. The demonetization of the Zimbabwe dollar was pronounced by the Minister of Finance and Economic Development in 2014 national budget, as well as the midterm fiscal review, and in my January 2015 monetary policy. A lot of work has been done since January 2015, culminating in the commencement of the demonetization process that is due to start on the 15th of June 2015 and ending on September 2015. The work involved banks supplying the information related to bank balances in the Reserve Bank, authenticating these with the information which was already in possession. Now, I'll continue. Reserve Bank authenticating, a statutory instrument to deal with the demonetization of the Zimbabwe dollar, will be gazetted, meaning it will be posted in their gazette on the 12th of June, 2015. Remember we told you what happens when something goes into a law passed by a government? It's posted into the gazette. Remember, you've been told that Iraq, for example, will post a rate in the Gazette, and we told you that does not happen, and we showed you the Gazette in Iraq, or it's just laws that are posted into the Gazette. Zimbabwe's telling you they passed through their government to demonetize the Zimbabwe dollar. In 2015. Now, many of you didn't know this, where the Zimbabwe dollar was actually demonetized, defunct, taken off the shelf. This is why it's not on the ISO 4217 list. It does not exist. Like OJ, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Folks, it's not in there. It's not in there at all. Doesn't exist in the international banking system. Now let's touch on a little something of why it does not exist. Not only why it does not exist, but let's touch on, now we showed you directly from the Central Bank of Zimbabwe telling you that the Zimbabwe dollar was demonetized. Folks, they're telling you that their own currency does no longer exist. But someone outside of Zimbabwe is telling you that their currency is going to revalue? Huh? You mean Zimbabwe government didn't get that memo? This is why, folks, it doesn't exist on the ISO 4217 list for currencies recognized in the international banking system. You mean to tell me someone and their high-level sources and their rumors that they heard and their opinions that they tell you, and on those 3-day weekends, those people that they get their information from didn't tell them that the government of Zimbabwe doesn't even recognize this doggone currency? That the international banking system doesn't recognize this currency because it was demonetized in 2015? There's a bridge in Brooklyn for sale. How many of you are buying it? Now we're going to go to the United States Department of Treasury. This is from the OIG, which is the Office of the Inspector General. See, folks, we're going to read something to you that's going to let you know a little bit of something about this Zimbabwe currency that you've been told to purchase. Sniper, right directly from, folks, if you don't know what the Office of the Inspector General, this is the investigation department of the Department of Treasury that does investigations into financial crimes, frauds, scams, schemes. This is the Office of the Inspector General, that investigates illegal activities related to financial instruments or alleged financial instruments. Now, this is directly from the actual Office of the Inspector General, the U.S. Treasury Department. This is their words, not ours. It's from them. The link is there. You can see it for yourself. They tell you what the lie is and tell you what the fact is. What does the lie, what do they say, the Office of the Inspector General, the Treasury Department, about humanitarian projects? For those of you who've been told that these M notes were going to be for humanitarian projects, what does the Treasury Department say? Tell us the lie, then tell us the fact. Lie.
Dude, this
Go
sounds
ahead.
like it's getting ready to be emotional damage right now. This is the
Mhm.
lie. It's funds in or some proceeds from. These high yield trading programs go to humanitarian purposes or infrastructure development projects that are approved by the United Nations, the World Bank, or Treasury Department.
Okay, this is the lie that the Treasury Department is telling you, folks. This is a lie. Funds in or some proceeds from these high yield trading programs go to humanitarian purposes. This is the lie they're telling you. They go to humanitarian purposes or infrastructure development projects that are approved by the United Nations, by the World Bank, or the Treasury Department. Then the Treasury Department says, that's the lie. Here's the fact. What's the fact, Mike?
There are no such trading programs or high yielding investment programs.
Continue.
The scam artists use of humanitarian or infrastructure developments theme is a trick to make an investor want to believe that their trading programs are real, and number two, make the investor believe that they could be helping a third world country by forking over their money.
So the Treasury Department told us the lie is that the funds and the proceeds will be used to go to humanitarian projects. The fact they're telling you there are no such trading programs. The scam artist use of humanitarian or infrastructure development theme is a trick. One, to make the investor, you want to believe that the trading programs are real, and two, to make the investor, you believe that you could be helping a third world country. Well, most of the folks that are investing thinking you're gonna be helping yourself. But how's that possible when the Treasury Department, remember, there are 4 agencies that oversee the RV: the World Bank, the IMF, the Bank of International Settlements, and the United States Treasury Department. And you have the Treasury Department telling you this about historical bond fraud. Now we're going to scroll down. Since we're talking about the Zimbabwe dollar. Here you have the $100 trillion banknote. Does it look familiar, Mike N?
That's the one that's been advertised to me that's going to change my life and make me a trillionaire.
You wonder why this is not on the ISO 4217 list, people? Then we have directly from Forex, the next screenshot in blue and red, the Zimbabwean dollar. The currency code for dollars is ZWB. Was that on the list? The ISO 4217 list? Mike N?
Yeah, that's not on there.
Not on there. And then notice directly from, this is from XE, which is connected to Forex, says, can you read in the pink and circled in red what it says? The notice. And this is from XE from Forex. What does it say about the Zimbabwe dollar that people are buying?
This is the Zimbabwe dollar, ZWL, has been suspended indefinitely.
It's been suspended indefinitely. Huh. So you mean Forex doesn't even know? Forex is putting this out, but they don't know that there's going to be a RV of this currency?
Mm-hmm.
But they're telling directly from Forex that that it's been demonetized. Directly from the Zimbabwe government that it's been demonetized. That's why Forex is telling you it's been suspended indefinitely. This is why it doesn't exist. It's not recognized on the ISO 4217. It's not recognized in the international banking system. Folks, if you have not heard this before, I know many of you haven't. I encourage you to make some adjustments. This is why you need to know what you hold and know who you are following and what you are believing and what you've been told. Now, you don't have to believe us. You can call the Treasury a lie. The Treasury, you can say the Treasury's lying to you. You can say Forex is lying to you when they're telling you that the Zimbabwe dollar was suspended indefinitely. You can say that the Zimbabwe government is lying when they put the press statement out that the Zimbabwe dollar was demonetized. Isn't this? We got you here showing you eBay. There's that actual $100 trillion note, the Zimbabwe dollar. Folks, this is a collectible bond, not a real bond from the government where institutional investors are able to play in that world. Do you think, again, I'm asking, institutional investors that trade in the trillions in Forex daily, don't you think that they would be buying these so-called Zim bonds from eBay and all these other places? Don't you think they would have bought them up by now? They got unlimited amount of money. They got trillions. Why would they allow it to be accessible to someone to purchase on these websites for $20? $20, literally $20. $20, and you're going to become a trillionaire. If that's the case, all the little children on Halloween, they can get Zim notes in their Halloween basket, and they're going to be trillionaires when they turn 18. Come on now, folks. In fact, some of these kids, the way they research and do homework and due diligence, they might know more than some of you what's real and what's not. This is why you don't see the Zimbabwe currency on the list. And when it comes to this is the historical bond fraud. For those of you who are saying, oh, but freedom fighter, I don't got Zimbabwe currency. I got a Zimbabwe bond. And they're going to pay for humanitarian projects, right? In tranches, right? Ain't that what you've been told? What did the Treasury Department tell you? Lie. Funds in or some proceeds from these high yield trading programs that go to humanitarian purposes. Fact, there are no such trading programs or high yield investment programs. The scam artist use of humanitarian or infrastructure development theme is a trick to make the investor, you want to believe that the trading programs are real and make you, the investor, believe that you could be helping yourself become a trillionaire. But freedom fighter. Well, why would they tell us it's going to happen? Are you clicking on their sites? Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Now, folks. Sniper, if you can come back to the mic.
Yes, sir.
Let's reemphasize. We see the IQD, which is the ISO code 4217 on the list, right?
Yes, sir.
The dong on the list, right?
That is.
Venezuela, Indian rupee on the list, right?
That is on the list.
Wiley, do you mind jumping here? I know this is I'm not sure if you're available, but you shared a lot of this information into the room. I'm not sure if you got time to come on in here.
Yeah, I'm here, Freedom.
Hey, you wanna add anything or touch on this? I know you.
No, but I can hear the heads exploding now, and they're going to be like, "But my guru said I'm not going to a bank. I'm going to a redemption center. It's different." Just another lie, folks.
And think about that, Wiley. They're told that they're not going to a bank, but they're going to a redemption center. So, folks, is the redemption center not going to be? Let's say if there is a redemption center with the military, who's busy, in the inner city communities now. You don't think that the military are going to be busy, huh? Yeah, they're going to be securing you and guarding you to go to these redemption centers. So you don't think these redemption centers, if they exist, they're not connected to the banking system? They got some sort of secret banking system? I don't understand. Wiley, can you help make sense of this for me? I can't
either because these people come up with imaginary things and they want to leave policy, regulatory, and law out of it all. And there's no sense of reality in what they're trying to pass. But the real problem, and I wrote something on this today and I put in my room, that so much has filtered around in the 20-some years of this, that because it's been permeated so long, it's just become in our community fact, but yet there's not proof, iota one, of any of what's been said.
Right.
Show me one protocol, one white paper, one regulatory reform on any of what the gurus say.
See, and while this is why so many of our members have so successfully established their relationships. They have sound money mechanics. They went in prepared. Also, Wiley, we know some of them went in with the guru foo-foo breath, but they straightened it out and they went back in and got it right. But it's amazing how so many of our members were also under the impression of all of this stuff that they were told, but then they started to educate themselves by following what you and Goldilocks and myself were putting out. And then they went in prepared. And now they're set for their exchange and their wealth advisory and their generational wealth based on that knowledge.
Yeah. Well, let me come back at you and play devil's advocate. Well, Freedom, I don't trust bankers. Bankers, we were told, were evil, and I'm not getting a bank account. I'm getting a QFS account. It don't exist in the banks. So I'm different. I'm going to be treated differently and get a contract.
Wow.
So you can't argue with that logic because it's not based in any fact.
It's based on emotional attachment, folks, to get you. It's like a cult following to tell you what you want to hear. High rate, and this is the date, and you have a secret, exclusive rate contract, and you just got to go to this place called a redemption center, and you're going to get it.
And follow me only, because I'm the only one's going to be able to give you that 800 number. And then once my group goes, then it'll be put out for everybody else to go. What horse shit.
Right? Oh my God, folks. If you don't make adjustments. And Wiley, I feel so sorry for people who may have only or heavily invested in Zim.
Freedom, I know people that sold all their previous assets and currencies to go all in on the Zimbabwe. These are train wrecks waiting to happen because they believed somebody off the internet and did no due diligence.
None. And it's in black and white for you folks.
For over 10 years. It's been out there. It's been demonetized. 10 years. And they're still using the same talking points, and new people fall prey to it every single day.
Because it sounds so good to hear that you're going to be richer, you're going to be a trillionaire by exchanging one note, and you're all of a sudden overnight from that one note, you're going to be richer than Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Really?
See, this is why we're not popular, Freedom. People don't like the truth. They don't like it. It goes against everything that they think they know and believe. And it's contrary to what they've been told and their belief system at this point.
Right.
And the only way they're going to find that out is the hard lesson at the end of the day, when they could have saved themselves.
Yeah.
We put it out there. You can take it. You can leave it. But it is what it is.
Yeah. See, yeah, you're right. Because I know we're being cursed out right now.
Yeah. I guarantee you. Like Mike N said, heads are exploding and people are mad. And I guarantee there's rooms going on fire right now.
Oh, yeah.
Screaming at, they're saying this, they're saying that. They're showing documentation. Oh, they're just liars. They don't know what they're talking about. We got special deals. Special deals with who? You listed the agencies that are involved in this, and they all put out documentation to the contrary on Zimbabwe.
Directly from Zimbabwe, folks. It's right there where Zimbabwe is telling you directly that they demonetized the currency that you all told to go buy, that you're buying on the internet. You're buying on all these sites. And you don't even know the code, whether it's ZWB, ZWT, ZWE, or ZOO. You don't know.
You remember a year ago when we got into this and I asked you to drill down into the ISO one night, and you kind of drilled down into that because it was a question I followed up with you with to ask if we could drill down to that further and what that meant. We upset a lot of our own people on this call tonight and in our own rooms. Had to recalibrate their beliefs when they were shown this. And we had people come to the room and say, oh my God, I got 3 currencies aren't even listed on that. I was listening to these people saying that's what I needed to buy. And it's not even ISO code. They had to recalibrate.
Yeah, it's sad because you're right. I remember some folks, they really fought it. And then, in fact, even Mike N, it was a challenge for him. He just mentioned that, Mike N, it was a challenge for you at first to accept it until you had to read it. See, Mike N, you're a researcher. And when you saw it in writing yourself, what were your thoughts when you saw it directly from the Zimbabwe government?
It was something that was actually tangible. It was no longer a rumor, somebody saying they know a guy and this is what's going to happen. Just trust me. It was something that was in writing. And that's something I wasn't able to receive from any of these Googles. Every time I've been approached one of them, and here, by all means, you have to be able to actually get a chance to speak to them because they have you blocked. You go in there, you just got to look, and you can't say anything. They would never provide facts. And then when you guys showed me that from the Zimbabwe government, that you guys showed me that it was demonetized, and that you showed me this historical bond fraud, I mean, it really kind of made it clear as day that that's not real.
And Wiley, what I would like Mike N to do, because he just said something very profound, because he's one of the examples, Wiley, that you mentioned that when he first came in, he was one of the members that it rubbed him the wrong way to hear what we told him. Yeah. Then he researched it. But Mike, if you could give people listening a brief summary of what you started. You thought you were being told the right information about currency, so forth and so on, what you should and shouldn't invest in. Take us from that to where you are now with your multiple relationships with wealth management. If you can do that in less than 5 minutes, I know that's a lot to do within, but just as quickly as you can, if you don't mind, because I want Wiley. Absolutely. I would love for him to do this because he's an example, Wiley, what you were mentioning as one of the members that first started out like that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So when I initially got into this investment, just like anybody, I mean, I received, from a friend that says, "Hey, I think you should take a look at this." So I started to, follow some of the examples and information that he provided for me. And it was me, it was a lot of links to a lot of these gurus, YouTube channels, Twitter, and Telegram. And, as I was following these guys, would always mention that, currency is just going to revalue. And as it's always expected to happen right away. There's always emphasis on, here we go. It's ready to go right now.
Right.
This is our weekend. This is good.
Take us from that. Okay, this is our weekend, 3-day weekend, blah, blah, blah. Now take us to when you joined our room, what you saw, and then where you are now with your relationship.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When I initially came in, I came when you guys were talking about the currencies and how the Zimbabwe wasn't a real thing. I questioned you guys and I said, well, how do you know? Because
I thought you were a troll. I
was hung up on it. I had spent my little money on this Zimbabwe $1 trillion note, and I was convinced that this was the way to go. When you guys started presenting this information to me, I was able to kind of actually have something in print. And I questioned you guys, not once, not twice, but several times, even, some of the information about the IRS and just following your information that you put out. As I became, as you guys presented this, and here, ISO 4217 is as clear as it gets. If you've been in crypto, ISO 222, you know that these codes are real. That there kind of laid down the foundation for me. Where I'm at today, I've actually, erased all that information, stop following all these rooms. And I mean, here, by all means, it's a distraction. If you're in any of these guru rooms that you're following these people that they're putting out information, you need to be able to get away from that because it's a distraction. Because the information that's being provided here, I've been able to go to my bankers. I've been able to establish a relationship with these guys where we're able to talk about what's actually real, what they can talk about. Now, by all means, there's a lot of things that, yes, bankers will not talk about because they just can't do that. This is going against, it'll put them in violation of their licenses. But from what I've been able to build with them based off following these steps, it's put me in a position where I've been able to, really, I believe I'll be able to change the rest of my generations behind me. Based off of the information I've gained from here because of the establishment I've gained with these bankers. But again, following originally with these Zims, they were wrong. You've had people like Lady Unique that took those Zims into her bankers, and they even say, "Hey, look, put that to the side."
Right, exactly. Right. And folks, not put it to the side for later. It was just a nice way of saying, you need to put that to the side because you're going to need it for toilet paper at home later. That's what that was. That's what that meant. Go ahead.
Yes. So like I said, after I kind of figured out, through your guys' guidance and the facts that you guys showed, not just, just telling me, because you have a higher source or you have somebody as such as Goldilocks, telling you on the side, you was able to provide to me in facts that these bonds are not what they've been made out to be. So because I was able to pivot from there, I've been able to actually build a relationship with the bank, with the bankers, licensed institutions, and I've been able to establish a relationship with these guys where they have. Now I don't have just one account open. I have several accounts open, ready to fund, and they're waiting on me. And I communicate with these guys
daily.
Correct.
Yeah. In fact, folks, this young man, he shared with me not only emails, text messages back and forth with his wealth managers even one particular one, openly talking about currencies. But he went from what I thought, who I thought was a troll in the room. I was like, man, this dude, he's coming here trying to cause trouble. I'm in to boot him out of here. And I said, no, let me be patient. He don't mean no harm. He just want to know. And I thought really he was just, because it was during a time when a lot of trolls were coming in, because a lot of people were pissed that we were sharing this. I thought you were just one of them. But then I said, let me be patient. But then you went from that to now being the nickname, the sniper. You read all the articles. You on the Saturday call, chiming in. My Lord. In fact, Peculiar Ram, you're here. You can, if you can unmute. Oh, Wiley, you want to?
Yeah, I want to chime in real quick, Alfredo.
Go ahead.
Your and I role was to never convince and browbeat and hammer people down that this is the information. That was never our role. Our role simply was to provide you the information so that the Mike Inns, the Lady Uniques, the Brunette Grands, the Ties, all these folks that came to us and said, my God, what you're saying has worked. I didn't believe it. I've done the homework. I went out and did and applied what you said. It works. I've got a banker. I've got a wealth advisory. I got attorneys. I got trust. I'm set. I even have my debit card for my brokerage accounts. Because what they did is they investigated for themselves, took the knowledge, applied it, and put it to use. And they found out very matter-of-factually it was all based and grounded in the truth. And that's why they are where they are now. And Mike has multiple advisories, not one, but multiple, because he changed his mindset and dug in to challenge what we presented.
Right.
Exactly. Now, Wiley, that had a lot to do with what you guys have presented. And I mean, here you've been given this information from the other side of this situation, right? Somebody that's been able to grow a portfolio that is put you in a position of power and this actually, in finance, right? You have your connections and what you've been able to pass down to us. And what it's done is opened up our eyes to be able to build. As the term that you guys like to use, teach one, right? Learn one, teach one, passing it down.
Reach back, yeah.
But Mike, what I want you to understand, though, Mike, is you're just coming into your own. And as you grow in this, on the other side of this, I want you to know you're not just playing another man's game and trading your time for money. You now are on and seeing the other side of the coin. And now you become a player in your own game and you understand what wealth is and what it truly can do. And it isn't trading time for it. And that was the purpose of what I tried giving all of you, to show you this is how they do it on the other side. This is how it's done. And I've had 10 years to pick these guys' brains and pick this stuff up to share it with you. They don't like I share it with you. Trust me, they hate it.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate it. I know that everybody in the tribe, I know I can't speak for everybody, but I know we're very appreciative for the knowledge that you continue to bless us with and show us, because I mean, you really are building an army behind what you're doing.
And that's just it. Teach one, reach back and teach another one. And you keep doing that. And it takes many hands to make light work. And this is how we do that. And we educate you so that you can in turn help somebody else later. That's what it's all about. We want to see everybody succeed. I really do. I want to see the people in the other room succeed, or wherever they're getting their information from. I just want to see everybody be a success. But unfortunately, with every success, there's some that's just going to have the downfalls. And that's just life. But yeah, keep learning, keep applying, and keep growing, because you are on the cusp of seeing the other side of this. And it is going to change your mind and world when you get there. I guarantee it.
Time to strap up and get in the game, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome.
And you're doing great, Mike. Trust me. I wish I had some of your contacts, because they are solid. The stuff you're bringing back is solid.
Thank you, sir.
Freedom, go ahead with who was it, Peculiar, or Lady Unique, or whoever you invited?
Yeah, Peculiar Ram, if you can come on in here, and if you're able to unmute, I know you were at a funeral.
I see her there, Freedom.
Okie dokie. Thank you. You can unmute now, Peculiar Ram.
Hi.
Howdy. I don't know how much you were able to hear, but I know you caught most of the last part, right? That we went over all this.
Yeah, I've been on the call.
What's your take? I know you sent me a DM saying people are punching air, but take us home and summarize this, wrap this up for us, like you always do with your infinite wisdom, with your way that you do things. Go ahead, girl.
I appreciate it. Hey, Wiley, stranger.
Hey, girl, how are you? You and your bright sunshine and effervescent self that you are.
Thank you. I'm doing well. Mike, you held it down today, bro. I just want to say, I believe that this call was very necessary. Like you said, this is definitely a very important call, even though for some of us, half of the call was a review. But for a lot of people, this is the most people we've had on the call this far. I always check the numbers, and we had a packed house tonight. And I hope within this packed house, there was at least one person who took a hold of the information that was given to them. Emotions aside, you're entitled to your emotions, but pivot. Take what Freedom has given us tonight, look into the room, and search the other conversations of others who've had the same questions that you guys have, like, oh my goodness, but I was told this, I was told that. Many sources said this. Those sources are not credible, you guys. Over here, we show receipts and facts. And the fact is, the Zim is not redeemable. You can use that statement and let it harden your heart and get upset and just be stagnant because now you're just stone cold. Or you can use this information to empower you. Use this information to diversify. Use this information to realize a lot of people that you guys are following. I'm not going to repeat what Wally said, but it's horse crap.
I didn't mean to say that. It just came out.
Wally, you are a gangster. You know that. You my Tupac.
But
it's horse crap.
I'm making a short out of that, Wally. But go ahead,
yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah.
It's horse sugar honey iced tea.
There you go.
Yeah. But it is. You guys have to realize this. We've known it for a while, and like Freedom said, we had a few in the group me included. I'm not going to tell my story, but I thought I was going to be a trillionaire ×3, baby. Y'all wasn't going to be able to do nothing with me with what I thought. And I know plenty of other people are thinking that too, or have thought that. Many people have good intentions. And because of your good intentions, I believe God has sent y'all here to be exposed to the truth. So don't look at it as, oh my goodness, this is a heartbreak. This is an arrow to the heart. You can look at it as if God did not love me, he would keep me in those guru rooms. Obviously, someone above me wants me to be empowered and wants me to really be on a path of truth and knowledge. And it starts here. It starts here. It starts with getting rid of the Zim. It starts with establishing a relationship with a wealth manager. And that's the path that everyone, all of us on this call, needs to be on. So
yeah,
that's all
you kind of say that, and I'll speak for Freedom here a little bit. We don't do this to be popular. I've been around this for 20 years. I've done this off and on for 20 years. I was reluctant to come back and even help because I know the hatred and vitriol that comes with being this messenger and bringing this message is not welcome. And they don't like it in this community because it goes against hardened, ingrained talking points that people think are facts. And if Freedom might wanted popularity, man, we could have built this room far bigger. far bigger. But that was
All we
never
had to
our
do,
intent.
yeah.
Our
All
intent
we had
was
to do
to
was
help
lie.
those
Yeah.
who have eyes to see and ears to hear. That's it.
Yeah.
And we hope that it's landing on some people and they take it to heart to where they can adjust now, today, so that they have an opportunity to have something when that exchange happens. And they have a team that can assist them in whatever it is and leverage it and build it into something better. This is not your future, folks. This is seed money for your future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what advisory does.
Right. Right.
But go ahead, Freedom. I didn't mean to talk for you, but I know how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're on the
Mm-hmm.
money. You're on the money. And see, folks, it's about making whatever adjustments that you can make right now. Like Wiley said, we know we're not saying what's popular, because this information that we're sharing tonight, we've shared this over a year ago in the room. We've had plenty of time to do a call and talk about this, but intentionally, I stayed away from it. From putting this out publicly on a Saturday night call, because I know how painful it could be to some people.
It's a lightning rod.
Yeah. But I just felt, Wiley, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
We're too close now, and I would feel very guilty if and it wasn't just a blanket decision. It was just how the articles from Goldilocks developed to come out this week with Vietnam and what's happening there. And Goldilocks mentioned about the stocks and bonds, that now that Vietnam has been their stock market has been reclassified as an emerging market, is because now institutional investors will be investing in Vietnam's stocks and bonds. I said, uh-oh. This is God's way of telling me I need to touch on this topic about these bonds, because people hear bonds, you know what I mean? And I said, okay. And I won't, I don't see a need to ever mention it again on a call. But it was just necessary now. And I hope just one person, like Peculiar Ram and Mike N and others, who it hurt them at first when they heard this, but look at them now.
Yeah, all set and sorted, and ready to go. Yep. Now they've got their exit strategy. All they need is a new rate to Forex, and they're off to the rate. You know what? I think we're the only room, Freedom, that told people once they had their bankers to get offline, because we can't help them anymore. Leave the room. Right. There's nothing more for you. Leave. Go away. We can't assist you. Go listen to your advisors. I don't see anybody else telling you that.
They tell them to keep coming back.
They need
keep coming back. They need those clicks.
They need those clicks. They don't want you to go anywhere.
Oh, and we're grateful for all those people. We're grateful for Mike and all those people that turned around and helped other people in the room, because it took the weight off of us, because they knew what we stated worked. And they turned around and came back to the room and said, listen, I went, I did this works. Hey, readjust, go do this, go back in. You're going to get there. Yeah, that's what truly makes the community work.
Absolutely.
And Peculiar, I'm sorry about being so gangster tonight.
I love it. You know I love it, Wiley, when you talk gangster.
But yeah, Freedom, you were going to ask Mike something.
No, I heard Mike say something. Go ahead, Mike.
Yep. So here, I know that we to pivot off and to talk about the Zimbabwe bond, but I mean, here, if you really look at what Vietnam has been doing, I mean, Resolution 68 was something that they did to completely change their constitution and allow foreign direct investment to flow into their country. And one thing that they did, I mean, they created what's called a gold rush. If you thinking about, the early times when they was doing the California gold rush and everybody was rushing across the states to be at a gold mine, Vietnam has created that in their own country. So if you're looking at this, trying to figure out whether or not, something's going to gain in value, they've changed their tax codes. They've changed their, their laws to be able to stop people being able to preload funding accounts to be able to network in their economy. They've released their private sector so that way they can grow. And that's the real takeaway from this whole thing, is that you're watching a country that went from a what Freedom has mentioned before, a very poor country to now a country that has a seat at the table. And then we're getting ready to watch this start the progress and change lives forever.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There it is. Absolutely.
All
All
right,
right, beautiful
Mike.
people. Yeah, that's amazing. Mike went from Mr. Troll to Sniper. I can't believe it.
I remember the day he came into the group. You were
I did too.
questioning him.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
It was
He was
so funny.
And he came back the next day after all his questions. I'm like, he's back again. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm just like, okay. He want to ask these questions. Maybe
must not be a spy. He's not a spy.
Must not, because he's asking these questions. So my mindset is, well, I'm gonna just if he wants to know, I'm gonna educate him, and he can take the information and take what he wants to do with it. And I'm like, and he came back for more the next day, and then he kept coming. I'm like, this guy really wants to know.
And I'll add to that real quick. So, Mike, I've seen some of the stuff you've sent over, and Freedom shared it with me, and I'm like, man, that's great. Now I'm going to go call my guy that I'm paying, and he's not telling me what you're hearing. And I know, Mike, you ain't paying your guy yet.
That's it.
So it's just kind of funny how the world works and where you are at this point in all of this, that you have somebody that texts you and converses with you and is telling this information, and you aren't even a true client, but yet a perspective. And here a paying client to somebody with some big brokerage houses around the world. I don't get some of that information. I got to call them. Hey, do you know about this? Yeah. Well, why didn't you tell me?
You know what? You need to sound like you need to call Mike.
yeah, I'm just gonna start calling Mike. So, Mike, what's your guy saying? So I go back to my guy. But that's just how it works. Sometimes you fall in with somebody that you just have a great rapport with. Use it. That's the beauty of this. You're going to find those people you gel with, and there's just nothing that can stop you when you have that connection in those relationships. Relationships matter in building net worth, because your network is directly proportional to your net worth. If you lost everything tomorrow, you still have your network you could plug into and make it all back.
Right.
Important to remember.
Right. That's it. That's a perfect segue. Perfect segue to close. Anything else you want to add, Wiley, before we go?
No, I'm good. I know we went a little long tonight. We lost some people. I know our name's Mud tonight, so I realize that. We're going to be popular tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Weasel, he probably going to come up with something, but we might have. I think we might have a barbecue next Saturday for us to put some weasel meat on the grill, because
I'll bring the potato salad.
You made a potato salad since he's plagiarizing Goldilocks and
he wasn't even plagiarizing. He was taking creative liberties.
Yeah, right. He got the sauce.
Yeah. What's that hot in the? Is it hot in hand sauce?
Y'all, please don't.
All right, folks. I think we're gonna have a barbecue next Saturday.
I think it's gonna be fun.
We got to put Weasel in this place again. All right, folks. Everyone. Oh, and I posted it to the bottom of the room the actual link to the Zimbabwe press release. If anyone wants to take a look at it, it's right there. And Mike, why don't you all share it with your favorite guru? All right, folks.
hey, real quick, Freedom. One small announcement, if I can.
Sure.
Can we have Lady E put the link back to Wiley's room? I got a couple people that asked about it.
Okay,
cool. And I know it's got to be in our room to be able to other people to see it, to actually go to it. And we haven't posted it in a while, so if we could maybe put that link up tonight.
Okay, let me do that. Let me do that right now.
What y'all bringing to the cookout?
Me, myself, and I.
Oh, period. And an empty stomach. I know that's right.
But other than that, Freedom, that's all I got.
Okay.
I just got a
Okay.
couple people hit me up this week about it, and I
Okay.
can't post it. So
Excellent. I'll post it. I'll post it as soon as we get off the call.
excellent.
Okie dokie. All right, everyone. Everyone have a good night. Stay grounded, folks. Stay in love, and don't let your feelings and your emotions get tied into. Just pivot, make your adjustments, and diversify to do what's best for you and your family. All right. Everyone have a good night. We love you all. Take care. Ciao.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.